Matt Patterson. That's Daniel Ferranti. We worked together at Warner Brothers.
W.
DW Ferranti.
Thank you. The W is important to me.
We were on a podcast together called Warner Archive Podcast for 10 years. And because of COVID-19 industry disruptions.
Wait, Matt, this is actually trending stuff because Bukies has come out in his book saying AT&T are douchebags. I'm rough quoting.
No, I saw
what
that.
he said. Yes.
Unfortunately, Jeff Bukies could not make it to the podcast today.
Yet.
But instead, we have some more archive guys.
Good segue, Matt. Good segue.
One of them here is Joseph Francis Wagner.
That's my middle name. I'm an old
Look,
friend.
I'm clapping
Matt,
and you can't hear because of audio.
Thank you. I'm very honored and flattered to be part of this inaugural show.
Joe has been the third wheel of many podcasts throughout podcast history. Is that true? What are some podcasts that you've been part of, Joe?
Well, it's funny. I don't know if this was while we were recording. You mentioned this, or no? So you, Dan, you mentioned Ain't It Cool News. I'll mention an old website for nerds called A Special Thing, which was a comedy bulletin.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
and when the guy who runs that bulletin board wanted to try doing a podcast, I think in the early aughts.
He
invited myself and the great comedian actress Martha Kelly from Baskets, the Zach Galifianakis show. If you've never seen that, Martha Kelly's a great comedian.
Amazing on that.
He invited Martha and I to his house, and we talked into a microphone on his coffee table for an hour and a half. And then I never heard from him again. And then I think 4 months later, he started the Never Not Funny podcast with the great comedian and host Jimmy Pardo.
Right. Yeah.
There's a plug for
that one. I knew.
Matt, I just thought since you did use third wheel, I will throw this out maybe as my guest credential for any nerds. There was a pilot done by Comedy Central in the late 90s, written by Patton Oswalt and Brian Posehn, and it was called Super Nerds.
Super Nerd.
And it was about the two of them as nerds
99.
Worked at a comic book store in a strip mall. It had kind of a
John Ennis
feel. John Ennis, the great actor, was in it.
Yeah.
And I was literally the third nerd who
you were the walk-in nerd. I remember
with two busts of Captain Kirk and Captain Picard.
Yeah.
And I conducted a what do they call that? An auction between Ryan and Patton for the bust of a Star Trek captain.
And
so I have played the third nerd.
Yeah, third
Comedy
nerd.
Central
Third nerd is actually, maybe we should retitle this Third Nerd.
But I was just going to say the reason why we're talking about stuff so long ago is because I also have known Matt and Dan for close to 30 years. So I'm happy to talk with these guys.
Yeah,
so
I was actually thinking about this last night when I should have reset my clocks because I was an hour off. But I was like, Matt and Joe in my mind are my new friends.
And so producer, senior vice intern Kelsie here is the newest.
So hot.
The newest guest of all. And Kelsie, how did you wind up here?
Yeah, I just got a little zesty one day and went into Matt's inbox on what we call Vassernet.
Vassernet.
Vassar Mafia, the Vassar Hollywood Mafia.
The Kelsie, underground network right there.
Kelsie had just moved to LA, and I had left a profile at my alma mater just saying that, hey, you can contact me, and I'm more than happy to tell you about the magic of the entertainment industry. And she wound up working for us for free. So thank you.
Yeah, hello, hi.
Kelsie, we gave her the power to shut off our mics, which you can do, shut off our cameras, And yeah, this is a learning opportunity for you too, because this is Zoom and you have all of the power. So if you don't like something, you
right
can
now,
shut us down.
Actually, I don't have the power. You have the power.
Hold on.
So
Typical.
actually, you're a liar. So
I am a liar because honestly, here's the real issue. I don't know how to operate Zoom.
Yeah.
Here, I'm hitting buttons.
So I think
sorry, I was going to say that's a great idea. I love that. I love that if producer senior vice intern Kelsie has the power to cut off the mics of any of us.
Yeah.
I drone on, and in real life would have people eventually walk away from us at a party.
All right.
So, number one, normally when you have a new podcast, you have a theme. But so far, we don't have one. Now, I created the theme to the Warner Archive podcast.
Yeah, not according to Warner Brothers.
Right, as an employee, but I used GarageBand. So what I did, by the way, I'm dropping this on you guys, is I went back into GarageBand to compose a new theme.
I have music. It's coming. Relax on the music.
I want to play you my theme because unfortunately...
My theme will replace Matt's theme. I'm insulted he's doing this.
Dan had promised the theme, but he didn't deliver. So Joe suggested...
Yet.
Hold on.
I said it's on
Dan,
the way.
Can you mute Dan?
Oh, yeah, mute me.
Mute Dan, because he's not allowing me to finish. So
when the granddads start fighting, Kelsie.
Yeah. That's your job. You see, now you're using it. And look, Dan is just like a little baby man in the corner. Yeah. So Joe suggested that we ask our listener audience, because he's been on other podcasts, like, if you have a theme, please send it, because that would be fun. But what you're going to hear right now is my attempt at trying to remember how to use this piece of software. Could you hear that?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And right at the beat drop, you should have it go, archive guys.
Yes.
Great idea.
Now,
great idea.
What you may notice is I couldn't figure out how to change the chord.
Yeah, that was great. Kelsey's right. Let it rise and then be archive guys, and then an awkward cut off.
You can say you hate it, by the way.
I think it's trendy.
All right, well, that's a first.
All right.
Well, that's our opening.
All right, so
Dan,
when my music comes in, it will be closing music. It's fine.
That's fine. So Dan,
I have a quick.
Yes.
Now make the contest. It's always the same theme, but it always ends with a quote. It always ends with a soundbite of a listener or viewer expressing in a 10-second soundbite their opinion about something.
Right, or just these show guys sucks.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And by the way, if they have a better theme, we can, vote which one's better. Like we could change the theme.
It's all fluid. It's
anytime.
Still fluid. It's still very fluid.
We're open.
Creative process.
We're open. So Dan,
yes.
What is the point of this show? Can you briefly tell us what we're doing here?
Wow, awesome question.
Well, now, and what is the point of this show, if I may, as number one super fan and first guest, but introducing people to things that they have not seen or have not read, and hoping that maybe someone out there will find.
By the way,
it's all about like, hey, check this out.
Check this out.
We use the word guys and archive guys in the East Coast sense, is like it's guys is everyone.
That's important.
It is
I'm so glad you said that.
a genderless they.
Because I have been questioned over my use of guys, and I'm like, it's not a gender word. I'm like, no, it is. And the people who say no, it is, they're correct.
They are correct.
It's just as an East Coaster, it's like it is genderless to us. Doesn't mean it's genderless.
We're using it in the form of genre fan. It is the most inclusive. If you're a genre fan, it's because
it's also right. I mean, gals is demeaning.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
But you can call me a gal, by the way.
I would like to hear Kelsie.
Matt, you are one of my favorite gals. So
I would like to hear Kelsie weigh in with gal.
Totally. Yeah.
And guys.
I haven't thought of it as demeaning, but I could definitely see it that way. But
it might be because gal, for again, our nerds of a certain age, it throws back to a 50s kind of diminutive.
Yeah.
And a boss would use it like, oh, the gals in the secretarial pool kind of way, like dismissive.
Secretarial pool. We're not over 50, are we, Matt?
I watch a lot of old movies, and my vocabulary has been affected, but not my magical love of the world. Because one of the fun things that I would say about watching like old movies and TV shows is that history is the greatest multiverse, right? Like that.
Pull quote from the show.
History is the public domain multiverse.
Oh, public domain. Oh,
people have.
Now we're getting sued
by the public.
Yeah.
Is this show monetized?
Right now,
not yet.
So far
make that funny money though.
Yeah, totally.
We're going to be going into the archive and unearthing, maybe showing something new or something known in maybe perhaps a different light, something a little more obscure that's more readily available that you should probably check out, and then we're going to kind of deep dive into some things that are hard or almost impossible to find or experience. Then we're going to maybe get to take a question or two, and then we're out. That's the show. It's that simple. Let's start. So this is the something new segment. Anybody got anything to share?
I'll jump in. So because of the pandemic, I went from someone who was a regular moviegoer like many people, but stopped going to the movie theaters, and I finally turned to all the platforms, and I'm watching just a lot of stuff on my computer. And one of the easiest platforms is, I was talking to these guys about the YouTube free movies. I have it on autoplay, and YouTube free movies algorithm will vomit something on my screen, and I'll start watching it. And I ended up watching something I never thought I would. I knew of the movie. I ended up watching the 2003 remake of The Manchurian Candidate, directed by the great Jonathan Demme.
Wow.
It stars Denzel Washington, Meryl Streep, and a young Liev Schreiber.
And it was totally a movie that when it came out, I was like, what's the point of this? And I have not seen it.
And
so I'm excited that you saw it.
We've lived now in a couple decades of remakes. I don't have a problem with it. The remake is an artistic, sometimes can be a creative urge. A lot of times it's a money grab. Each one is its own case. But we'll say this. It was still early 2004 for remakes. It was a remake of what was considered a great film, and certainly a cult film. And
name drop. You need to say Frankenheimer sometime.
Right, John Frankenheimer directed it. Stars the great Angela Lansbury. If you've never seen her in anything outside
extraordinary
of
performance by Angela Lansbury. as
Who-
well as the actor playing her son, who in real life was like 2 years younger.
Right,
Who,
right.
by the way, I saw live here in LA on in a musical.
Wow.
I
two-
too have seen Angela Lansbury live.
Wait, but it was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and,
I saw
like-
Angela Lansbury like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Did we see the same show? And I'm forgetting.
No, I saw her in the Noel Coward Blythe Spirits. What did you see?
No, it wasn't that. God damn,
It was
what
not a
it?
musical.
She's
was-
right
no,
there.
no.
By the way, she's right there with Betty White in Please Live Forever.
Yeah, totally.
She's
Totally.
like 90 and
No,
more
I mean,
alive than me.
my yeah, no, when my
And
very, very good friend was dying of cancer, Angela actually and Angela was her favorite actress. Angela actually posted a thing for
A
my
good
friend
person.
Turquoise.
A good person. And
Yeah.
here's something that many third nerds can say. I'm one of those third nerds. I have never seen the original. I've seen clips of the original.
Oh, you've
but I've
never seen the original Manchurian?
So I
Wow! Oh,
I
it's
saw
so good,
this-
Joe. It's
I-
so good.
So I saw this remake, and I know I will get to the original because I've
Yeah,
seen this remake now.
I mean,
and
I will
think-
tell you what is the most remarkable about the original is, and Matt will agree or disagree, but the Frank Sinatra is amazing.
This is something I do now with movie watching. I tweeted that I was watching it. Someone replied with like, "You got to see the original." So Dan, I'm already being pushed in that direction. I know I'll get to it. But as for a remake, and if you're a Jonathan Demme fan, it is a great. I think it was a great thriller.
One interesting thing that Joe kind of hits on is sometimes how do you approach a classic, right? Because there are some people who are like, oh, a classic shouldn't be remade. It's a classic.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
completely disrespectfully.
Why?
That's the appropriate way to approach all of it. And the whole point of culture is you share it and you remix it and you redo it. So
Right.
there's nothing pristine about the stories we tell each other.
Yeah,
Nothing.
like Shakespeare. It's like, is
Right.
there or theater? There's no
Well,
definitive.
Shakespeare was one of the original
something.
remixers. I mean, like
And-
everyone always gets into it, but it's like he just took other people's stories and retold them better.
And so even though catalog is accessible now, and Joe could have found the classic probably very easily and cheaply. First of all, these free services or advertising supported services are quite good. They have wonderful prints, good scans, and but for the cost of usually a commercial.
Speaking of scans, not to interrupt, but that's who I am.
Yes,
And this isn't a plug.
Kelsie does have a
Yeah, she can shut me off, and
if
she
she's
should.
sick of Dan.
She should feel more empowered to just shut me
Yeah,
up.
you're allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Kino channel. Speaking of free, I can say the Kino channel is a lot of fun. It really is, and it's free.
Noah, a friend of ours, he decided he hadn't seen many of the Bond movies, and he's like, I'm going to watch every Bond movie, and I'm like, okay, people do that, and he goes,
Did
but I'm
he do
watching
it?
them backwards.
Oh, backwards. Oh, yeah. So I will definitely bother Noah.
Which is a,
That is so interesting.
but it's a
So
different.
he hasn't seen No Time to Die because that's the most forward.
Yeah, he didn't. He started before that happened.
So he started with
it's
like
in-
Spectre or
But he,
Casino Royale. No,
Yeah.
no.
well,
Skyfall.
Yeah,
Skyfall. Yeah.
but it was fun to talk to him as he went backwards. He had a totally different perspective than everyone else who has lived and watched them.
No,
forward.
that's super interesting, right?
I'll have to ask, did he do this in one sitting or was
No,
Right,
no,
right.
You can watch that many Bond
No.
movies in a row, man.
yeah, I don't know. Bond is an interesting what we would now call franchise to talk about, because in some ways it is the oldest, right? And it's a different genre. It's not, superhero.
I think it is the oldest. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. I think
Right.
I think the competitor would be Universal Monsters, but
Right.
the Universal has so not figured out how to revive that franchise, whereas Bond has been going on since the 60s nonstop.
And there are Bond fans who show up to Bond events. Like a lot of people think that maybe fandom, organized fandom, would be starting more with Star Trek, right? But it's really, Bond has a lot of these things earlier, and
not much earlier.
No,
3 years.
Right. But it's people don't lump them together.
I think
they
once
should.
you,
No, you're right.
If you establish a franchise and you get your fans past the first new person.
I mean, just the simple fact that like the very first Bond movie ends with the title card, Bond will return.
Right.
Like no one had ever done that.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way,
except
all of this
serials,
and all of this brings us to the fact that in
To be
1
continued
month,
is not will return.
1 month we will see 3 Spider-Men in the same
Oh,
movie.
According to you.
I'll call it right now.
According to the
Dan.
internet, we don't know. Also, Charlie Cox is not involved in the Spider-Man movie at all, and don't pay any attention to the picture of him sitting at the table in Peter's kitchen, because
just like-
that never got shot.
I would like us to rank the Spider-Man though,
Easily done. Easily done.
Wait. The actors, the movies.
Spider-Man. I'll take it. I'll
Good
take
question.
it just as Spider-Man.
I was responding to
Spider-Man.
actors.
Okay, sure. We could do it as actors. I'm interested in this.
Now rank them.
But in terms of ranking as Spider-Man, there's no question Tom Holland's the best. He really is.
Okay. So not a Toby stan. Where's Toby rank?
Toby's number 2 and Garfield's number 3, but Andrew Garfield out of the 3 is probably my favorite actor. Like Andrew Garfield is super talented, but like you need to watch like Red Riding to see Andrew Garfield do his shit.
I'm gonna go with same thing. I think Holland, because Holland was the third. They figured it out by Holland. They saw Holland do it. I'm sure he nailed it in that audition. Then Toby, I think, because you're the originator, and I think the thing with Spider-Man is how well, obviously it's always you play the superhero, you play the real person. I think Toby had some of the real person gravitas, the acting.
Well, he had to do that scene in real life, right? Didn't it take 70-something takes?
Oh, the upside down kiss.
Well, Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man.
Yeah. And
At Warner Brothers.
Poor Toby had water going up his nose the whole time.
And Garfield is, and I'll say this because actually it's been out in the news a little bit. He's been doing interviews and he's had the time to look back on it. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a super fan who gets to be a superhero, where I think Garfield is a legitimate Spider-Man fan. If anybody knows, Andrew Garfield, is a great viral video of him at the Comic-Con asking
I was there.
Dan was there. He
there.
asks a question in a Spider-Man outfit, and then he pulls off the mask to reveal that it's him, Andrew Garfield, and he talks about how much he loves the character, how excited he is to do it. I think Garfield is the one in the middle who was an experiment, and if you read any recent interviews with him, he talked a little bit about how these are billion-dollar properties that can become a clusterfuck in the blink of an eye, and whatever he wanted to do as an actor, the reality is that's low on the list, and I think that it'll be absolutely incredible to see all 3. Which is going to happen, all 3
according to Joe,
screen.
not according to Marvel Studios or Sony.
These opinions are not endorsed by the show.
Yeah.
Matt, your quick ranking.
No, I'm gonna ask Kelsie. Kelsie.
Oh, Kelsie.
Her
Well,
ranking.
she's clearly a Toby girl. Come on.
She can say it.
So I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I saw any of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, so he has to be last. He
Yep.
has to be last.
Right.
Right.
And for me, I think it is Toby, but I think it's Sam Raimi who I'm actually spanning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't
Good-
getting arguing
good
for
point.
me about Sam Raimi.
Exactly.
Okay.
So for that reason alone, and I'm over the Marvel franchise as it is right now.
Right.
The cookie cutter movies. I've
Right.
seen them.
True story. After the first Spider-Man came out, I took my dad, who is still with us, but just turned 97. So he was in his 90s, and I brought him to Spider-Man, and then afterwards I took him to a fabled Jewish deli on the west side, and as I was waiting in line to pay my check, a very nice, well-dressed man turned to me and said, "Don't forget to get them to validate." And it was Sam Raimi. And it was literally the day after Spider-Man came out. And I was just like,
God.
Sam Raimi saved you $3.
He did. And I totally did that. My dad was like, what, why are you acting this way? And it's like, that's the guy who directed the movie we just saw. And yeah.
And your dad was like, boo.
Yeah.
So here are my top 3 Spider-Men. Number
Nicholas
1,
Hammond.
that's number
No.
2. That the Electric Company guy,
Oh, so good. So good.
because I don't know what actor that was.
On physicality alone.
Yeah,
Yep,
he didn't
yep.
speak.
He did not speak, but he was Spidey.
He was Spidey, and I thought that Spider-Man was a mute, and so was very surprised when I next encountered my second favorite Spider-Man, who's animated, but from the late 60s TV show, because that Spider-Man freaked the shit out of me.
The Bakshi Spider-Man.
Yeah, that one was so weird that I hold all animated superhero things up to that, because, I mean, they flew away.
One day, I hope to Spidey swing across a watercolor landscape.
Yeah, but the one that really freaked me out growing up outside New York City was there was an episode where they picked up New York and flew away with it.
Yeah,
and Spider-Man is
that
like
was Dr. Doom did that.
Yeah, Dr. Doom, and Spider-Man's like hanging by a thread to a sewer pipe, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
underneath the city. It's like it turns into like the Cloud City of Bespin.
Yeah.
Underneath it.
Yeah,
And
but it's New York. Yeah,
I'm like 6 years old.
Are you not impressed that I totally knew it was Dr. Doom?
I knew you would know. And then number 3 was the Spider-Man live action TV Spider-Man.
Hammond.
Yeah, Nicholas Hammond,
because we all love Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. And if you want to check something out, check out the opening theme to the show of the first season, I believe. It is one of the
Only
funkiest.
one season, Jack.
It is one of the funkiest
Funky man
TV themes. It's late 70s. It's wah wah pedal in your face, and it is super funky. And it was the theme show for Spider-Man, and that's a great. I listen to that theme at least a couple times a year. It's a great theme.
And then I don't know, Dan, I don't think you went. Joe, did you come with me to when I kind of forced everybody to the Marvel theme restaurant at Universal for my birthday? Because I had a Spider-Man show up for that. I think I was turning like 32.
You were. I was there. Yes.
You were there. Okay.
I was there. I don't know if Joe was there.
It was like I had the Hulk and Spider-Man.
I still have my glass from the Marvel restaurant.
That's
like I totally held on to that. And
I took 4. That was my other favorite Spider-Man.
The spouse has repeatedly tried to get rid of it. I'm like, no.
So I vowed to stop watching the Marvel movies
after
Endgame.
Wow.
Because it was the end.
This is what they're afraid of. This is amazing. Keep talking.
That was the end. Okay? Like, we have seen them again and again. I started watching them from the very first Iron Man in theaters, right? When it started from the conception, I'll tell you, my favorite still will be the first Iron Man, the first Captain America, the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are my favorites. And every iteration of them, they just get further and further from what they used to be. And there are these attempts to change. And I hear that Shang-Chi and I haven't seen Black Widow, but I love Florence Pugh. Like, they keep getting actors and actresses who I would like to see, but I can't bring myself to give that franchise any more money, because please stop me. It's not to diss comic books. Like we said, my dad owns a comic book store. I love comic characters. I think they've had their time now, and I think it's time to see something else.
I mean, is there a Marvel movie that can bring you back?
Good question.
Is there a Marvel movie that can bring you? No. I think at this point they've done it. They've at least take a break.
Yeah.
Let it breathe.
Right.
Let it be what it is. Maybe if they made what was it? The Howard the Duck. Is that that character's name? They brought him around for a moment at the very end of one of the
and you know, and Seth Green is as good a person to play Howard as anyone.
It would be amazing. Yeah. I would see that. I would see an animated.
You heard it here. You heard it here, Feige.
Yeah.
Kelsie wants
Howard. I think the world needs Howard.
She will return.
I did not type in anything in our outline about speaking about Marvel movies, and now we have an hour of it. Now it's a whole. It's like, welcome to the archive, guys. We're going to talk to you about the most obscure thing. Here's the #1 form of American entertainment.
Now we get obscure. Now
we're going to tell you what to replace it with, because it's all overdone and we've seen too much. So
there we go. Look, she's where she on Joe's screen. She's where she is on my screen. Joe and I are both.
We all move around.
Yeah,
Dan. It's a magical process.
You need to move, Matt.
Dan, you know, it's almost like you haven't been on a Zoom call before.
Yeah, well,
oh no, your age is showing.
Yeah.
So what I want to talk about is a discovery. Dan had mentioned the Kino channel, and I want to mention that I recently participated in the Kino Blu-ray sale with this whole box. I got this whole box of Kino.
Turn off your background because you can't see the box.
It was a little. It was. We could see a box.
Look,
I don't think we need to see any more box. Actually,
yeah, you don't need to see any box. I got a whole bunch. I got a whole bunch of Kino here on sale, and one of them is a Blu-ray of a 1949 film noir called Alias, Nick Beal.
Oh, and I know that movie.
And what's great about this film is it's not just your average morality tale, but it is a retelling of the Faust tale, and it stars Ray Milland as the devil, Audrey Totter as the fallen woman, and Thomas Mitchell, who was Uncle Billy in
It's a Wonderful Life.
Thank you.
Gold.
Yeah, only one of the most obscure films of all time.
Yeah.
He's Uncle Billy from It's a Wonderful Life.
The one that loses the money.
He lost the money. But in this, he loses his soul because he's a DA and he wants to put the mob behind bars. And he just says, like, I'd give anything to put them behind bars. And he finds some cookbooks from the devil and all of a sudden starts making a series of deals and becomes governor. Supernatural themed film noir is a very rare genre.
Wow, that sounds like an extra ingredient.
Yes, and that's what makes it weird and rare. It's Paramount film. Paramount, it didn't do super well. It's a Wonderful Life.
Matt, it starred Thomas Mitchell.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. This was we owe this guy a feature. We're gonna burn it off.
And so what they wound up doing was burying it, rarely showing it on TV.
Yeah.
Wow.
was not released on home video. But the people, the Film Noir Foundation, like Eddie Muller, when he starts to do his
Eddie
Film Noir
who?
Festival,
Film Noir what? Man,
the czar
this is
of noir.
This is someone's very first podcast. Who's Eddie Muller, and what is the Film Noir Foundation? Go.
Well, the Film Noir Foundation is the organization first, Eddie, and started about 22 years ago, a film noir festival, which probably lasts about a week, where they showed, at the time, obscure and hard to find film noir. And film noir is a genre that was kind of made up after people made films, right? It's sort of a more modern appellation. There's an eternal question of what is film noir? And generally, the reason why we use a French word is, turns out, well, at least maybe according to Eddie Muller, anything he says it is. But it's basically a morality play, like where sometimes the criminals win, or what they could get away with in that time period with the Hays Code.
Right.
Okay, and it is important for people to understand now that you've broadened the discussion and brought in the Hays Code.
Yeah,
you.
I didn't mean to.
I know.
Go on a 2-hour journey.
Both films and comic books had codes impinged upon them. You could not have a bad guy win.
Right.
It was against the rules.
And this film originally had a different written ending, but it was forced to have a happy ending, which is there, but it makes the film feels a little incomplete. Anyway, Thomas Mitchell, who's third build, is a fantastic actor, and he really plays this guy who is seduced. And Ray Milland is such a good devil.
He's so good. He's so good in everything. But
and there's this wonderful scene, just like so amazingly acted, between Ray Milland, Audrey Totter, and Thomas Mitchell, where Ray Milland is telling Audrey Totter how to seduce Thomas Mitchell and makes her do role playing. And she's very hesitant, like, how do you know what he's going to do? And he goes, and he's running her through the lines. And then Thomas Mitchell comes in and starts saying the lines. Now it's an amazing acting exercise, because he's saying the lines earnestly. Ray Milland had just said them before, seductively and sarcastically. And Audrey Totter's doing the same lines again, but instead of being saying them distant or unbelieving, her horror becomes more and more apparent. And it's not the horror that she is pretending, the reaction that she's pretending to have with Thomas Mitchell, but she's realizing Ray Milland is a demonic force. And it's so good.
I'm going to throw out just an interesting movie TV question here, because what Matt's described that would get me to this movie is seeing a portrayal of the devil. Matt's thrown out now this one with Ray Milland. I want to hear a favorite or a memorable devil portrayal that you've seen.
For me, that's so easy. I mean, it's a baseball film. It's a musical.
Yes.
And it involves one of the greatest actors who ever lived playing the devil. Matt, what movie am I talking about?
I don't know, Dan, what movie? I know the movie, but Dan hates when I do this.
Yeah.
The baseball one with Joey Brown.
Yeah, no, not the one with Joey Brown.
Do you mean Damn Yankees?
I mean Damn Yankees.
Oh.
Damn Yankees.
Damn Yankees, which also
available on Blu-ray.
Had a great Broadway revival in the 90s with Jerry Lewis, by the way. And I'm going to throw out some love to Jerry Lewis, because he was great on stage in the revival of Damn Yankees. But no one can actually hold a candle to the original devil in Damn Yankees.
The devil is the devil are big shoes to fill. Big
Right.
evil red shoes to fill. Kelsie, do you have a portrayal of a devil that you remember?
Most recently, it was a Korean film that I
Ah.
saw that in. Okay, I think it's called maybe The Ra. And the devil fits into this. It's actually really weird. There's a moment where there's a camera and they're taking a photo, and the devil is like doing his own little thing, and it's left open to interpretation. I won't say anymore because you should see the film.
Check it out.
Yeah. So when and if this ever gets posted, can we have
We'll have links. Yeah, we'll have links.
All right, good.
I have a quick so I'll throw in my quick last one. If you've ever seen or are familiar with the TV show from the 60s called, was it the 60s or 70s, the Monkees? When was the Monkees on?
60s.
The 60s. It's about a group of guys who are kind of a Beatles-esque group. They live on the beach in a house.
Are you pitching Head?
Inspired a little bit by Hard Day's Night, but it was a comedic show about this band called the Monkees. And there's an episode where the devil comes to the Monkees.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
Makes a deal with one of them to be able to play the harp perfectly.
Yeah.
And the devil is played by a character actor whose name, of course, I don't know, but it's the great thing about anyone getting to play the devil is that they're usually getting to play the Faustian bargain of making a deal.
Right.
And that's where you get to see whoever's portrayal, however they play manipulation. And the guy who plays the devil in the Monkees episode about Peter and the harp is, to this day, if he appeared next to me and started smooth talking me, I would shit myself.
I'll sign it. Yeah. Now that Joe brought the Monkees in, who just last night or the night before played their very last concert at the Greek Theater.
At the Greek, yeah.
End of an era.
You're talking about the Monkees. So I was looking up photos of the devil from the Wailing. I found out the name is the Wailing. But
The Wailing.
Like the Wailing Lamentations. The Lamentations of the women wailing, or wailing like Moby Dick.
Like
the Wailing, I guess the women wailing, the woman, WAILING.
Yeah, wailing.
Yeah.
And if you look up the
we
devil
would
from
say
that,
the Keening.
He's crazy looking. It's a great movie. But the Monkees, the band, from the TV show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kelsie, if you've never seen Head, which is the Monkees movie that was made between the first and second seasons of the Monkees TV show, when everyone thought that the Monkees were more important than they actually were.
And this cemented that.
Yeah. Head is one of the most amazing take the money and run feats that anyone has ever done in Hollywood. And one of the two screenwriters is actually Jack Nicholson.
Who?
No way.
Yeah,
Who
and
had been...
this movie is amazingly hilarious.
It's like, Kelsie, if I may, it's like if BTS suddenly made a psychedelic movie that nobody got.
Yeah.
They made an art house psychedelic movie. So the biggest bubblegum pop group at the time makes a movie, and people go see it and they're like, what is this?
What is it?
I mean, I'm not kidding. The film is literally modeled around James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake.
There you go.
I just, not to belabor the devil point, but I believe I am the only person here who has portrayed Satan on the big screen.
Oh my God!
That's true.
Armageddon. Warlock 2.
And that would be a whole other podcast.
Matt's hands.
But I'll tell this version to, not just my hands. I'm in the whole outfit.
But for me,
Matt,
it's your hands. Yeah.
Save it for.
But I'm saving it.
Save it.
Matt, look.
I want to just tell Kelsie one thing.
Matt is in a movie.
This was my first job out of college from Vassar. I got this through a Vassar connection. And
wait, I'm gonna up that. That film was my first pay-per-view.
Whoa. Dan
Okay.
shelled out money in the 90s.
That's how much I liked the first one. The second one, the one that Matt's in, not so good.
I worked on the second unit, and just one more tease with the same writer who worked on Rad, the BMX movie.
Rad. Yes.
So those are my bona fides. Okay, now next.
And Matt plays the devil.
I play the devil.
Ooh.
I was directed.
Literally the devil.
Yeah, quite literally the devil, and I did emerge from hell. But that's it for now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still have a VHS of my pay-per-view because you're damn right. I wasn't just gonna watch it. I was gonna tape it.
Matt, before we jump to the last bit, can you say the name of the movie again? Something old that you are recommending.
Warlock 2.
Yes. No, I was recommending.
The Film Noir.
Yeah, Alias Nick Beal from 1949, available on Blu-ray from Kino.
Warlock 2, the Armageddon, as it was advertised on cable for the pay-per-view, because the voiceover guy didn't actually know the word Armageddon. So
Armageddon.
And on my VHS that I still own, I can play it. It starts stay tuned for Warlock 2, the Armageddon.
I want that for this podcast. I want that for my intro. It is also available on a actually quite good Blu-ray set of the first 3 Warlock movies with extensive behind the scenes.
The first Warlock movie is a great genre flick. It totally is. And,
yes.
And it has a great actor. It's got, more than one great actor. It has 2 great actors. It's a fun, good 90s genre movie.
It holds up.
Yeah.
I saw it recently myself. It holds up.
I have a lot. I can't tell you objectively how the second movie was, but I saw it recently and it was better than I remembered.
Yeah,
but I have so many stories of my behind the scenes, but that's not now. Yeah, we're moving on.
The first movie is just like Julian Sands and Richard Grant, and it's just like, yes, you can just let the cameras roll for an hour and a half with those 2 guys.
Much like this podcast.
I know Richard Grant.
Something you can't see. Something you can't.
All right. You definitely can't see this. Good luck on finding it. If you do find it, let me know where and when, because it's remarkable. So after Woodstock, movie studios, who at the time also had record labels, post Woodstock, all of the movie studios were like, oh, we need a concert film and we have these bands. Let's create a fake event. Warner Records decided to do Medicine Ball, accidental repeat of Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. They took all the Warner bands and hired French documentary filmmakers and literally put them on a bus and told everyone it was not a concert tour, but a cultural event, trying to recapitulate Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. And just like Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test,
it doesn't end well.
It ends nowhere. With the filmmakers basically doing the exact same, I think we blew it, that Kelsie does in Electric Kool-Aid. Now, that was a very long-winded way to say the most hilarious scene in Medicine Ball, which you will have a hard time finding because of music rights, because Warner Brothers owns the film, but Warner Brothers Records owns the music. And a lot of people don't understand that Warner Brothers Records and Warner Brothers Films got split off. And Warner Brothers Records and Warner Brothers Films have a not cordial relationship with one another. which is basically Warner Brothers Film says we want to put this out, and Warner Brothers Records says only if you pay us $10 million. So stuff never gets released. There is a scene in the middle of the film where everything has kind of gone off the rails, and there is a youth group called STP show up and menace everybody at an outdoor festival, and they're bummers. The artist that brings some life into everything is a young Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper is the ray of light. So if you ever have a chance, watch Medicine Ball and stay with it until Alice Cooper shows up.
And it is buried, as you said, mostly because of music rights.
Yeah, I mean there's so many films. They're not hidden in the vault. They're just buried because of
Legal
music or a bend decision movies where like the underlying story is owned by no one knows whom, therefore the film can't be seen because everyone's afraid of being sued.
And Dan and I have witnessed other releases like not coming out because of paperwork. Like, you know, they literally can't find it. So,
Dan and Matt have been insiders for a very long time working.
And now we're perpetual outsiders.
Dan, it's a movie called The Astrologer from 1975. Now, here's the thing, everyone. There's another movie called The Astrologer from around the same year. So I'm talking about the one that features a man named Craig Denny. And The Astrologer is about a man who has psychic powers. And the movie was written, directed, and stars Craig Denny. And Craig Denny was a guy who came to LA and was basically just trying to hustle into LA as a psychic. And so he wrote this movie to feature himself. And in the movie, it's like any great cult, independently produced, low budget, one guy's vision. There are incredibly jarring jump cuts because he tells like 7 movies in one movie. But the main thrust of it becomes that this man with psychic powers becomes so famous and you never see the powers, but he becomes so famous, both the government comes to him to use him as a consultant, and he also writes, and this is where Denny goes meta, he writes a movie about his life that becomes a success that in the mid-1970s, the movie grosses over $150 million. And he becomes famous, and then it's the fall of the lead character as he becomes this, globally known psychic with a hit successful movie.
So
and
it is definitely a post Billy Jack movie.
It's a mid-70s. I think it's listed as 75, some listing 76. The reason why I bring it up is because it was discovered by Alamo Drafthouse people. They had a screening of movies that you can't find, or these are movies that got to us that we've never seen before.
Right.
In 2013, it didn't really get any traction. And then in 2018, somebody put it up on YouTube. But between 2018 and 2021, it has been taken down. So the only way you can see it is if you order a print from Matt. What's the name? AGFA?
AGFA.
Yeah.
Which is
American Genre Film Archive. So
America Genre Film Archive has a print. You can order it from them if you wanted to have your own screening of The Astrologer,
because they have the theatrical rights.
But it was on YouTube for a little bit, but it's been taken down. I went to the 2 links. It's been taken down.
Probably.
You can't see this movie unless you order it. So it's hard to watch.
Unless you rent a theater.
Unless you rent a theater, rent the theater. And
we should do that. We should rent Alamo, LA, and do our own screenings and talk. That's a good idea.
The reason why
Who's got money? I don't.
The reason why I love this particular discovery, and unfortunately, again, it's not easily available. It's not easily seen, but in the tradition of great cult films made by someone who has the vision, right? This is the
Right.
auteur.
You mean like The Room?
It remind of the Room, Birdemic, any
Right.
of those movies. Which that one of the few films I've watched during the pandemic was Birdemic.
And total disclosure, I didn't know about Birdemic until Matthew B. Patterson.
It's a
I
great.
saw it live.
These are the movies that are discovered, right? But what ends up happening is, and this is what I just wanted to bring up because I think I've never really talked about this before, but we all know the cinematic portrayal of the director with the chutzpah, the producer with the chutzpah. They got to make their vision, right? The great one being Ed Wood. The great one being Ed Wood. What is interesting sometimes, though, and what is the movie that I think I haven't seen is most of those films tend to romanticize. The hero is the filmmaker who has to bring their vision to the screen. Usually, and those people are portrayed heroically. Sometimes, and in the case of the guy who made this movie, The Astrologer, so little is known about him. One, as usual with movies like this, in terms of financing, nobody really knows how he got the money. And then he kind of disappeared. And there have been interviews, I think one interview with someone who was an associate of his, who, as I told Matt when I discovered this movie, this associate was like, I think he's dead, but he could have faked his own death. When someone who's worked with you is suspicious that you might have faked your own death, sometimes the people that make these movies, they're not maybe as heroic as they appear in film. They might be con artists. There's something there that they're, a lot of times these are fishy characters, but they have a creative, artistic vision. But the rest of their story, who knows, you know?
Instead of having Jaws and Star Wars create a world where we now have maybe you might say creatively
Avengers Endgame
limited Marvel movies.
We've done the circle. Keep going.
I'm bringing it around. We could be living in this guy's world where all blockbusters are made by people who are touched by other universes.
By the way, the name of the meta movie in the movie is the name of the movie, The Astrologer.
Right.
Of course it is.
The Astrologer.
I love the 70s.
The Astrologer. Yeah.
Now
it was all there.
Now at this
Speaking of, we blew it.
Now at this part of the show, Dan and I in our last show, we would take questions or letters from the audience.
Right.
And
so
in this one, we're going to have producer, senior vice intern Kelsie ask us a question which we can answer quickly.
Okay. So my question is, I grew up watching TV shows like Gilligan's Island and Land of the Lost. And I'm wondering if you have recommendations like that to show maybe kids who aren't familiar with older TV, and the garbage that's coming out these days is kind of tragic. So what is it that you can recommend to spice up the lives of, I don't know, kids these days?
Now, Dan,
how do I put a hand up?
Yeah, Dan, I'm going to start this. And then you can finish it because I will not give a recommendation. But what I can say, which is kind of interesting, and when you start studying media history, every kids' entertainment, when it comes out, the adults at the time say it's garbage. Land of the Lost, everything you said, people were like, boo. But it's great. And they're great to kids. And Dan has seen this firsthand with his daughter, which I'm sure he'll talk about. Kids are wide open to many experiences until they suddenly one day are not. Dan, what are some recommendations?
Everything Matt just said was great. I think it is worth mentioning that both Gilligan's Island and Land of the Lost, which are remarkably great entertainments, were dismissed at the time. And both have been attempted to be revisited with not so great
multiple
results.
times,
multiple times, but like
Lost.
yeah. Now for the, and it was funny that Matt mentioned that like everyone, the adults poo-pooing what kids like. I mean, most recently, my experience has been, and this isn't, I'm using the word adult in quotations here because they're of a voting age, but they're definitely not mature. The amount of hatred that Teen Titans Go gets when it's a remarkable, at least the first 5 seasons when Jelinek was writing, are incredibly hilarious. I mean, it's just a funny show, and it's a show that is funny for people who are of an age and for kids. I mean, like Gilligan's Island, like Land of the Lost, an adult can watch it and a kid can watch it, and it is definitely hilarious for both groups of people.
All ages entertainment is a very specific kind of
right, and the
genre.
only people that don't like Teen Titans Go are ironically people who are fans of the Teen Titans cartoon, which was a great cartoon. I mean, Matt knows the Teen Titans is out on Blu-ray because of my efforts.
It's like
all
Dan,
me.
It's almost like Dan rewrote them and redrew them frame by frame.
Yeah, except for the actual creation part. Yes.
In talking about like sort of other people's retro, right?
But no, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, Teen Titans Go, as the audience matured, they felt that it took a step backwards because they didn't realize that entertainment recycles itself and that they could go on with it, but they should be moving to Young Justice.
And they were super like, I mean, the ongoing thing was always that like Teen Titans Go somehow prevented more Teen Titans, and it's so
specifically, I just want to. Kelsie asked for recommendations.
No, I'm getting there.
Oh,
Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans Go is great.
Teen Titans Go is great, and also if you want to do a great back and forth with your kids, I would recommend getting Johnny Quest and Venture Brothers.
Yeah, that's a good way because, and now even Venture Brothers is old, right? So it's like you see the cycles repeat, high and low. And Dan, you specifically love like the puppets, like Thunderbird
Jerry Anderson
and Jerry Anderson, which is another step
That's
back.
A whole other thing. Yeah, that's a show in and of itself.
But that's same kind of thing, like backwards and forwards.
I have a quick question to wrap this up because everything, like we've been saying, everything comes back around again. Kelsie, I'm just real curious, quickly. How did you see Gilligan's Island and Land of the Lost shows like that? On what channel or what?
Okay, so my dad's weird and has all the box sets of those.
Oh, okay.
And
I thought maybe it was like a Nick at Night thing or something.
He was a customer.
I've seen Dinosaurs as well, the TV show.
Oh, right.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
So like
one of the few sitcoms that has the most depressing ending ever.
Yeah. He would just pull those things up and be like, "This is something you wouldn't have seen."
Here you go, child.
Yeah, and like he would be upset with me too because I would take them and then scratch all the discs and watch them all the time. I've watched Gilligan's Island when the theme song was like "and the rest," and
the rest.
Yeah, and then when they bring in the Professor and Marianne, I've seen the colored versions, the non-colored. Like it was something that I got a lot of joy from seeing. It's something that no other kid had seen at the time.
And that was Bob Denver, by the way, who made them stop doing "and the rest."
Yeah, I heard that.
There's a
Kelsie,
commentary track too.
Kelsie, have you seen the Gilligan's Island Harlem Globetrotters movie?
I don't know. Let me see.
Oh my God! Hard to find. Totally worth
That
seeing.
is hard to, because I don't think that was on any.
We
of those
should totally
sets.
just do a Harlem Globetrotters watch episode.
The
where
Harlem,
we
the
just
Harlem,
talk.
the Harlem Globetrotters was a novelty basketball team.
They still exist.
Still exist, but they were they did all kinds of cool tricks, and they would put on a basketball show.
They
And
still tour.
They were very big in the zeitgeist at the time, and
70s, yeah.
a movie was made where they end up on the island with Gilligan and the crew, and they play basketball.
And
That sounds awesome. I don't think I've seen that
And-
one.
Yeah, this is after the first Gilligan's Island reunion film, and in this version, they're trying to love boat it. So
Yeah.
it's like the Howells are setting up a luxury hotel, and Gilligan is working at it, and the Globetrotters are the guests.
But the guests, there you go.
and there's there are animated versions of the Globetrotters
Two,
crossing over with Gilligan's Island.
but there are two animated shows with the
Yeah,
Globetrotters,
and-
and actually three, because there was an ABC Saturday Superstar with the Globetrotters too.
I liked as a kid the superhero Globetrotters.
That's the
which-
best one. But you
yeah.
know, anything with Meadowlark is a hit.
It had time travel. It was like there was like
Yeah.
a Doctor Who like time travel
Oh,
style.
speaking of
episode.
Doctor Who, and I'll just throw this out and then let it be discussed later.
Whoa.
Doctor Who's for another episode.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, let's we really need to fill more time, Dan.
Yeah, I know. Aside from me, who's watching the new Doctor Who?
Has it started yet?
All right, there we go. That's the answer. All right. It's just me.
Put it on the list.
No,
Yeah.
I gotta watch it now. I'm like, oh crap.
I mean, the
Yeah.
answer is my dad, I'm sure.
Yeah. And how do we get your dad on the podcast?
I could do that easily.
All right.
So is this like hanging out with like three versions of your dad? Is that why like you're just like,
Three boring
oh,
versions of
oh
your
my
dad.
god, this is Thanksgiving, but like every angle. I'm like, oh, I know all of this.
Right. Well,
So-
you know, at least with my screen, she can go, yeah, my dad has that. My dad has that.
So
This looks like his closet at home.
the end. So if you have a question for us, please write us at.
Do we have a mailing address?
Yeah, I was just about to give it.
Oh,
Please write us at guys@archiveguys.com. We also have a website, archiveguys.com. Dan, at this point in the time stream, if you type that in, you won't really see very much.
but that's
But-
not an actual mailing address. That's an
Oh,
email
physical?
address.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to start with email. I don't. Do you want people to know where you live, Dan?
People can figure out where I live pretty easily, so I'm okay.
All right, give out your address. Write to Dan.
All right, write to me. 604 Belmont Avenue, Los Angeles, 90026.
You can also throw rocks at Dan while he falls asleep on his porch.
Yeah, it's very true. Right now, they're milling my street, so that's why I have anyway.
Free gravel.
Yeah,
And if you want us to review your thing or promote your event,
oh,
we're-
that's good, right?
Yeah.
We're happy to promote new releases or old releases.
write us.
Send
and-
us screeners.
Yeah,
at-
we'll talk about them at guys@archiveguys.com, and I'll give you Dan's address, which he just gave.
awesome.
And does anybody have anything that they'd like to promote or talk up? No?
This
No.
show. This show.
This
Start
show.
keep listening to this
All
show.
right. I have like you can have me talk to me right now on the socials about the show at Mr. Matt Patterson. We'll probably have an Archive Guys thing as soon as I bother to sign up. And that's it. We're wrapping up the show. I'm Matt Patterson.
I'm next. DW Ferranti.
I'm Kelsie, and this is our special guest.
Joe
Very-
Wagner. Hey, everybody. It was
very
it's been a
special
real
guest.
pleasure. I enjoyed blathering about all that stuff with you guys. Thank you.
Until next time.
Woo-hoo.